All right, I've got a message for all you Florida State fans and anyone related to the Florida State football program. Stop crying. Stop crying about not being in the college football playoff. I think it's ridiculous that all these Florida State players are just opting out of the Orange Bowl. Florida State and anyone on that roster and on that coaching staff, you're not bigger than the Orange Bowl. I've got some numbers I'm going to talk about in just a second. And I know Florida State is historically a really good program. They are. They won a national championship 10 years ago. But Florida State has been irrelevant for the better part of this past decade until this year. I know that you went undefeated in the ACC, all right? Cool. A lot of teams would have done that. I know you feel slighted about not getting the playoff. You're undefeated. I get that. Trust me, I get that. But the quarterback matters. The quarterback is hurt. You're not a top 4 team. You need to get over it. Stop crying about it. Listen to this. 2023, you went 13-0. Very cool. Last year, 10-3. If Georgia went 10-3, you'd have fans with pitchforks out there. The world would be ending. Hide the knives, right? You can't lose 3 games in Athens. Mark Richt got fired for going 10-3. And last year, in 2022, Florida State went 10-3. Everything was great. They have an opportunity to play the mighty Georgia Bulldogs in the Orange Bowl. Most of these guys, if not all of these Florida State players opting out of the Orange Bowl, you can make the case this is the biggest game in their life to play in the Orange Bowl against the Georgia Bulldogs, and you're going to say no thanks because you're triggered by the College Football Playoff Committee? I don't understand. 2021, Florida State went 5-7. In 2020, Mike Norvell's first season, they went 3-6. 3-6, are you kidding me? 2019, they went 6-7. 2018, they went 5-7. 2017, they went 7-6. They still went 3-5 in the ACC. In 2016, that was the last kind of decent season they had, and they still lost 3 games. That was Jimbo's last year. 2016, they went 10-3. That is a bad year in Athens. I cannot wrap my mind around these Florida State players just opting out in possibly the biggest game of their life, playing against the Georgia Bulldogs on a national stage. Do not tell me that Florida State is bigger than the Orange Bowl, because they're not. They should be thanking God that they have an opportunity to play against the Dogs, who just won 2 national championships, in the Orange Bowl. It's ludicrous. I know you're mad. I know you're frustrated. I know you feel slighted. I get all that. But it is absolutely ridiculous how many opt-outs they have. That's not happening at Georgia, right? 2020, Azeez Ojulari was a borderline first-round pick. He played against Cincinnati. Who cares about Cincinnati? Azeez Ojulari did. He had a big game and should have been a first-round pick. But you don't see it like this in Athens. You did a little bit. And listen, I said the same thing about Georgia when they lost in the 2018 SEC Championship. I said they're not bigger than the Sugar Bowl. They're not. Georgia hasn't won a national championship since 1980. It's not like they're, just won it a few years ago. They should not be opting out of the Sugar Bowl. I know they're disappointed, but you got to play. This is still a big deal. But now, Georgia is bigger than the Orange Bowl. Florida State's not bigger than the Orange Bowl. Georgia is. Georgia just won 2 national championships. You would think that most of their guys would be opting out. And we don't know the exact number just yet. But for these Florida State players to just quit, that's what they're doing. They are quitting on their team, quitting on the season, quitting on the fan base. And I'm not just saying this to trigger Florida State fans. I'm spitting facts, okay? You're not bigger than the Orange Bowl. You should be happy to be there and play on this stage in front of playing against a team that has been very good. Very good. One of the best programs in college football. Past 2 years, they were the best program in college football. And you have an opportunity in the Orange Bowl to beat the Georgia Bulldogs, and you're going to say, no, we're bigger than the Orange Bowl. You're not. Georgia's bigger than the Orange Bowl, and they're still going to come out and compete. And it's because they are connected, right? They have a team camaraderie about them that Florida State just doesn't have. All these guys, listen, Trey Benson, the running back, sitting out. He's opting out. Keon Coleman, good receiver. I don't know if he's a first rounder. I'm going to sit out too. Johnny Wilson is opting out. Jaheim Bell, their tight end, he's opting out. Jared Verse, the only guy who I think is a bona fide first-round pick, he's opting out. Fabian Lovett, defensive lineman for Florida State, he's opting out. DJ Lundy's transferring. It's crazy to me. You would think that all these guys who have one last opportunity to play for Florida State against Georgia, it's not against just some random school who had a big year. It's against the Dogs. And they're going to say, no, thank you. I'm going to leave. The Orange Bowl is the biggest game that any of these guys will have played in. And they just said, no, thanks. We feel slighted, right? Our feelings are hurt. We're better than this. You're not. You're not. All right. You deserve to be in the playoff. You deserve to have that opportunity. You went undefeated. I get that. Totally get it. But you're not one of the 4 best teams. And you had an opportunity to prove that. And you know why they're opting out? Because they know that they were going to lose to Georgia. They knew it. It was going to be a bad look because they got their second or third string quarterback playing. All these guys opting out, they said, you know what? This might get ugly because deep down inside, we know we're not one of the 4 best teams. We're one of the 4 most deserving teams, but we're not one of the 4 best. Stop your crying. Stop being triggered. It happened, and it happened for a reason. You should be playing in the Orange Bowl, Florida State. The fans should be flying down there in droves. They should be trying to take over Fort Lauderdale, South Florida, right? It should be all Florida State fans. They should be thrilled to play in the Orange Bowl. You were a losing team in 2021, 2020, 2019, 2018. You had 4 straight losing seasons just a couple years ago, right? And now you think you're better than the Orange Bowl. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I get the frustration, but it's ridiculous, in my opinion. We'll see how many Dogs play in this game, but there's a connection with the Georgia team and that program that clearly Florida State just doesn't have. And I'm not trying to hate on Florida State. They were very good in the 90s, and they did have Jimbo and Jameis Winston lead them to a national championship 10 years ago. But since then, they've been completely irrelevant until this year. You're not bigger than the Orange Bowl, all right? The truth hurts sometimes, and I'm spitting truth bombs here, right? I'm not trying to trigger Florida State fans, but there's no reason for them to be triggered. The Florida State fan base should be excited to go down to the Orange Bowl, and these players, in my mind, should be excited to play in this game against the Georgia Bulldogs. There aren't a lot of people who get to play in the Orange Bowl against the Dogs. It's a big deal. A lot of people are going to be watching this game. I don't care what, others are saying, oh, no one's going to care about the Orange Bowl. They both kind of got, shafted out of the playoff. It's still the Orange Bowl, all right? I said Georgia was not bigger than the Sugar Bowl this year. So, I'm not switching my thoughts on this. But Georgia's bigger than the Orange Bowl, and they're still going to go down there and compete and try to win the game. Florida State should be too. And you can read more about this over on Dawg Post. Sign up to that free newsletter. That link is down below. I just don't get why Florida State fans are still crying about this, still triggered by this. They're better than this. You are. And these players are better than this. And again, if I'm an NFL GM and I'm looking at Keon Coleman, Johnny Wilson, Jaheim Bell, I'm thinking, well, why didn't you play in the Orange Bowl? You had an opportunity to get more film out there against a very good Georgia team. And NFL GMs would love to see that. They want to see how you play on your way out. They want to see how you play when there are no college football implications on this. There are no championship implications. They still want to see you go out and play hard and compete. These guys are saying, nah, I'm good. I don't want to play in the Orange Bowl. It's ridiculous. It really is. This is a big deal. The Orange Bowl, Sugar Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, if you get a chance to play in that game and you say no, I think they're going to regret that one day. I really do. Especially when you have a chance to make a statement and prove everyone wrong. And they're not going to. And they're not going to because they know that with that backup quarterback or the third stringer, whoever's playing, it's going to be a rough day for them. And they don't want to play in a game that they're going to lose by 20-plus points. Now, they're going to lose by 20, 30-plus points. And they're going to say, well, it's because all these guys, opted out. They decided not to play. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I did not think Florida State would have more opt-outs than Georgia, but it looks like that's going to be the case because Georgia's connected. They're a team that wants to play with each other. They play for each other. These Florida State players opting out, it is a me over a team scenario. At least that's what it looks like to me. They should be playing in this game. Stop the crying. Stop being triggered. You're not in the playoff because your quarterback got hurt and you're not a top 4 team. but you should be playing in the Orange Bowl. This is a big deal. Florida State is not bigger than the Orange Bowl. Georgia is bigger than the Orange Bowl, and they're still going to go down there and compete. That's one of the biggest differences in these programs. If Georgia goes 5-7, 3-6, hide the knives, close the bridges, okay? But that's what Florida State has been recently. They've been a losing program, and the one time they have a great team, and they're going to opt out of the Orange Bowl? It's crazy. You're not bigger than the Orange Bowl, Florida State. Get that through your head. But unfortunately, they're not going to get it through their head, and they just had a whole bunch of guys quit on the team. Hate to see it, but that's the facts. Stop being triggered. Stop crying about it. It is what it is, and now you're going to get your butt kicked in the Orange Bowl. Thanks for watching. Share this with a Florida State fan because I'm just being real, spitting facts. Thanks for watching this video. Hope to see y'all over on the website.